Greetings, welcome back to another video, and in this one we're making this here a very quick and simple flip knife pocket. So first we're starting off with measuring that thing, and it was about 3 inches long and 1 inch wide. So what I'm doing is I'm getting a nice square edge for my leather here. We're going to be cutting squares and going from there because we don't have a pattern. So also I changed my blade. Nice sharp blade is very helpful. So yeah, I'm squaring it up with that cut that I just made. And I'm going 4 inches. The blade, as a knife, if you remember, is 3 inches. So I'm giving myself some leeway, and I'm marking there. That was a 2-inch mark because we're going to be doing a 4x2 rectangle cut. And then I'm going to put that on either side so that we can put the knife into a pocket, basically. It's going to be a very simple design. So there's one of the rectangles, and I'm just straightening off this line here, getting it nice and straight and square. That's always the best starting point. And I'm going to be cutting my second pocket piece here, 2 by 4 inches. There it is. And then this is the general idea, just a little pocket for the knife to sit in. And then we're going to put a belt loop strap on it, and that piece of scrap there, I'm now going to clean it up, straighten that out to make a belt loop for the back of the pocket for the knife. So I'm marking there, I think it's 1 inch or 3/4 or something. And the length is just long enough so that you can fit it at most like a 2-inch belt. Because, you know, sometimes people have that. And so I cut my belt loops usually for 2-inch belts because it'll definitely fit 1.5, so you won't run into any problems there. So yeah, now for the belt loop, I'm punching off the ends with the round end punch, and then we're going to straighten off those corners, or not straighten off, but smooth them out by using the knife to cut off those jagged corners, because I didn't aim the punch perfectly, but it's fine. Looks good enough. And then we'll edge all around that. Number 2 edger. It's the only one I basically use. I'm not really making too many thick things, although there's a video coming up where I'm making a very thick knife sheath for a very thick knife. So I'm lining up the belt loop with where the knife's actually going to sit, basically, because I want it to, the rigidness of the knife body will help the belt loop stay straight and sit better on the belt. This dye is the gold brown, I think, or might be the dark brown. Can't remember anymore. This was like more than a week ago. The leather was kind of already darkened by the sun, but this dude, who the knife is for, the sheath is for, he wanted dark brown, and that's fine. So we're gonna glue our belt loop onto the back there, and on the front side I'm cutting a little finger grabby zone. I don't know, there's probably a better word for that, but to make it easier to get the knife out, like with your fingertips you can grab it, and that is considered a pocket top. So I'm going to edge and burnish both sides edged, and then I'm dyeing it black. And looking back, I think it would have looked cooler if I didn't dye it, but it's fine, you know, black looks good. It also, you know, if you get dye on the corners, sometimes that happens. You'll see in the bottom of this product, the bottom inside had some dye on it somehow. And so if you get that on the edge of the corner, if you do black edges, then it will delete the brown, so to speak. Okay, so we're doing some edging and burnishing on the belt loop here. Slicker. And the glue's dry by now, so we can go ahead and place the loop on the back. Now this project took a total of probably about 30 minutes max. It's a very simple design, very simple knife, thankfully. Okay, so the back of the belt loop, making stitch marks. There's not that much space, so just using the 2-prong in 3 spots makes 6, and this actually ended up allowing me to do a pretty cool stitch pattern on that. You'll see. I'll tell you about it. But first, let's put this leather balm on here. The leather balm is killer. Love it. Scrub-a-dub-dub, not really. Heat, I think, is what makes it shiny. Like a slight coating, and then the wax and stuff. But glosses up with some heat, like on your car. So there we go. Both of the pieces are waxed. Makes it a little bit nicer to wear, less dye rub off by quite a lot, and mild water resistance, but not really. So here you can see my stitch pattern forming because we have 6 holes, and they're basically like vertical with each other. I went ahead and I did like down, 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 and then from the bottoms across to the top middle, so it makes it look like a W. And I did a double knot, or some people call it a square knot, on the back. Sorry, my cat's bumping the mic. Okay. Yeah, so it looks kind of cool, a little cooler than the usual. Okay, stop that. So now what I'm doing is that little fingertip groove for grabbing the knife that I put on the front. I'm doing it on the back as well with what little space I had. I should have thought of that, but it works out anyway. Your front finger is gonna be the main driving force anyway. So similarly to the front, we're gonna edge and burnish that and dye it black to match. All the edges will be black. There we go. Slick it up. So now we will glue the 2 sides to each other, and then we will have created our knife pocket, except for the details, because these are 2 rectangles essentially, and they're also a little longer than they're supposed to be. Also, you can see there's a little bit of brown dye right on the bottom of that pocket. It may go away once I cut it because it is a little too long for the knife, but if not, you'll never see it. That's why I made that the bottom, because on the inside you can't see that far. It's inside of a seam basically, so no way. And here we go with the attachment process, and we're joining the 2 pocket tops to each other because those were finished pockets, so we want them to measure up properly, and the bottom can be trimmed if needed. So So I'm just tightly pushing it together around the knife to help it sit nice and tight, and gravity will help do the rest when it's on your belt. But it's pretty tight and looks good, looks cool. Now I'm going to trim up some shape on this thing so that it's not a rectangle, because rectangles are very what's the word? Brutalist. You know, like in architecture, brutalist style. Yeah, like that's like Russian communist style stuff. Alright, back to the leather. We're trimming off some shape here so that it's nice and round, and also the excess on the sides, because the pieces were not perfectly sized for the knife. So, and you want the edges to be nice and flat, so flatten them with each other. I didn't make the bottom perfectly round. It's sort of, I don't know, like a jewel. Like octagonal, if it had the same on the other side. But regardless, it's still rounded and looks more pretty. So we're gonna edge and burnish the entire sides. And the first side I had a little problem, but the second side went much smoother with the edger. Sometimes you like start cutting an edge and then, you know, it comes off, and then you're trying to put it back on, but you're putting it onto an already edged part, and it's like, it just keeps slipping off. Yeah, that's what was going on there. Yeah, so some more of that black from the marker. And I did a little short on this, you can see it. It's the black dye versus the Sharpie, and they're pretty much the same. My suspicions are that Sharpies probably just are a black dye, probably alcohol based, who knows, but it works pretty much the same. Alright, we're putting in our stitch line here. I put the knife in here so that I could kind of see how tight it's going to be and what it will look like, you know, visualizations. And it looked pretty good with like a 1/8 inch or so stitch line. Now we're going to punch that in. Punch, punch, punch. Punch, punch, punch. I'll skip ahead on this one, I think. 5mm, my punches. I love using the 5. Saves you time on stitching. Looks a little better in my opinion too. But mostly the saving time on stitching is good, because there's so much stitching to do all the time. So why not use 5? Try it if you haven't. So here we go with the burnishings. And when you haven't dyed black, it sometimes looks better than when it's natural, depending on how nice your sanding was. And I burnished a lot. You know, I think I went a bit hard on the burnishing, trying to get it nice and smooth, get that clicky click sound. But anyway, here we go with the stitching, the final stitching all around. Got this sped up because I don't think people want to watch stitching. And I went over the top. That's what I like to do, over the top of the corner. And then I stitched all around. So here it is all done. Thanks for watching. Check out my other videos. There's a lot of cool stuff. And check out our website, memorytrees.co. See ya, thanks.